is, it's like I knew better. I knew not to do that.
Yeah.
I knew not to take a DoorDash order from Popeyes. And I fucking did it anyway.
Yeah,
So
anyway. And what happened? The same thing that always happens.
The same thing that always happens.
Yeah.
So you know what? I guess that one's on me.
Yeah, you can't blame anybody but yourself. You can kind of blame the people who are rapping and twerking behind the counter, but at the end of the day, it's mainly your fault. You did it to yourself. I had, back when I was DoorDashing, I stopped doing it because I found it not to be. I'm gonna cut the fan off because it's like what 10 degrees outside right now.
Yeah, that's pretty cold.
Yeah, it's chilly out there. It's chilly in here. But yeah, I stopped doing it because it got to the point where like I was making enough money to pay for the gas that I was using to do it. And it had like a hard drop because like I was doing it back when people were still like quarantining and there were still a lot of COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
So I think that's when people were utilizing DoorDash a lot. So
I have found that the best time to do it, if you're going to do it, is Friday nights.
Friday nights?
Nobody wants to go out. Everybody's had a long week. They're, but some people want to go out. But some people don't. Some people just want to hang out at the house.
I would think most people would want to go out. That's why I never did it on Fridays.
No, Fridays has always been the best. Friday nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only night that I do it.
Really?
Yep, only night. So I can usually do about 4 hours, make $100.
Yeah. Yeah, that was usually about my goal for back when I was doing it.
And I don't go to Douglasville anymore.
Yeah,
I do it where we live.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
So
the tips are better.
Yeah. So back when I was doing it in Douglasville. And, of the orders that I did accept, I mean, you can accept the ones that are worth your time.
Yeah. My acceptance rate is so fucking low.
Oh yeah, mine. Yeah, I think mine got down to like
I'm not doing an 11-mile fucking McDonald's run for $3.50.
Oh yeah,
you go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many orders I saw come through that were like $1.50 for 13 miles.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, absolutely not. And I would decline those orders and be like, you know what? Because it adds like what 25 cents every time somebody declines it and it shows it to the next person. So by the time it reaches like $9 or something, somebody's like, oh, okay, that's worth my time.
No.
That food will have been sitting there for a long time. Yeah, and McDonald's I think suffers the worst because I saw this thing recently that said that McDonald's has been putting like goodie bags for DoorDash drivers on the orders as an incentive to get people to accept McDonald's orders from DoorDash.
You got some money in there?
Put like $6 in there, $5 or $6 in there, and okay, I'll take it.
No.
So McDonald's is suffering because of their customers' cheapness.
I think if you're going to do it, like you have to understand the area in which you're doing it in and when like the best time is to do it. And I wouldn't necessarily say that would be during the time that they have like the peak pay campaigns or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of what that is sometimes it works. Like last night when I did it, there was like a 2-hour stretch where I was getting like an extra $3 per delivery.
Oh, nice.
So it was kind of stacked. There was like a $1 promo and like a $2 promo.
You could fit in 2 hours. You could fit 6 orders if you're really hustling.
If you're hustling, it also depends too on if you're doing it like I used to do it in Douglasville, but that was a little bit easier because the distance that people lived as opposed to where the actual restaurant was a little bit shorter than where it is where I do it now.
Yeah.
So like where I do it now, like of course, like and I'm not going to give away where we live.
Yeah.
but the distance is a little bit further away.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is I think because the distance is a little bit further away, people are willing to tip more. And I know the area, so I don't have to search around all the time for everything. So it just makes it a little bit easier. Not only that, but the traffic's not as bad as it is in Douglasville.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, there's a lot of workarounds if you know back roads and stuff. Plus, as opposed to Douglasville has restaurants just kind of peppered everywhere. I mean, there's a lot in that like Douglas Boulevard, that stretch between like was it Highway 5 and
Chapel Hill Road.
Chapel Hill Road.
Yeah, that's pretty much where all of it is.
But
that on the one side, on that right hand side, that's where everything is.
But still, those restaurants are still pretty spread out. Like if you might get an order from like IHOP, which is all the way down here on Douglas Boulevard, south of Highway 5, and then you might do a double order and need to pick up Jason's Deli.
Which is all the way on the other side.
All the way on the other side of Chapel Hill Road.
It's going to take you an extra 20 minutes just to get over there.
Mm-hmm. Whereas with
the city of Townsville,
literally everything.
You have to bleep that out.
Oh, whoops. Good catch. With where we live, everything is, right there in that same area.
Yeah.
With the exception of 2 or 3 fast food restaurants.
Yeah, really not that. Well, you've got like the one Mexican restaurant that's like on the other side near the church.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, honestly, that's really not even that far either.
Yeah.
I mean, because everything is really in that one stretch right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the only area that you have to concentrate in. Although over there by Publix, over there, on the other side down towards the other exit, I'm trying to like not give specifics on the names of these places. So, but on the other exit, like where the Publix is, there's like a wing place over there and some other stuff, and I've gotten some orders from over there.
Is there a wing place over there?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because the Mexican restaurant where you used to work at, there's a wing place like in that same little strip right there.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. They must have recently added that. We due to the nature of my current job, I kind of have a little bit of insight as to what's being built in and around in the area.
Yeah.
So every time there's like a plot of land that's starting to get like graded or whatever, people get really excited because they're like, "Oh, what's it gonna be? It's like, what are they building?" And I'm just like, "Guess what? It's another Dollar General."
Fucking Dollar General.
There's so fucking many of them.
I guess their business model is to just flood the area with as many Dollar Generals as possible.
I
guess. But you think that wouldn't be a smart business model?
Hey, I feel like you would saturate the market.
Yeah.
Right? I have no clue. I mean, and you never see a Dollar General that's like fucking wrapped up.
No.
There's usually like
3 or 4 cars in the parking lot.
Yeah,
that's about it.
At any given time. But there's so many of them, and they go up really quick.
Yeah. Well, there's the one that's over there by the rec department. Have you been over that way? Off of like 61?
In a rec department. I haven't been past the rec department in a long time.
Yeah, so like if you go like you're going to go past like the rec department going down to that throughway down there?
Like towards the throughway, not towards
like
town.
going towards the throughway.
Yeah.
Like if you go towards the throughway, there's a fucking Dollar General that's right there. That's the only thing over there. Like in this huge field is this fucking Dollar General.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Because I remember one time we were going by it, and Alice was like, "What do you think that's going to be?" And I just looked at the shape of the building. I was like, "That's going to be a Dollar General."
That's a Dollar General. Yeah.
And then also too, if you ever go by, where like Winston Elementary School is, there's a Dollar General right there on the left.
Yeah. On this road right here,
there's one over there.
There's one down there, and there's one down that way. Like literally within a mile, maybe 2 miles of each other. It's like there's no non-compete agreement between the franchise owners.
The only
build
thing
one right next door.
The only thing I can think is just the price to franchise and build one is so astronomically low.
Yeah, it must be super cheap.
The entry fee must just be so low to get into one of those things.
It's like I know to like franchise a Chick-fil-A, there's like a 3-year long process where they like vet you.
Yeah.
And you have to like kind of take a course and want to say it's like $1 million something like upfront, like from your pocket.
Yeah.
But then they also they cover the cost of your food. I want to say the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Just because they know the volume will be that high.
Yeah.
And then after that,
I would imagine with a Chick-fil-A, your return on investment is going to be super high.
Yeah, but they really, they're not letting just anybody, build one and operate one.
No.
Whereas I'm pretty sure with McDonald's,
they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck. You know the way they do that? McDonald's takes a flat amount.
So they're not like a percentage-based fee for franchisees?
I want to say it's I want to say, no, it might be percentage, but it's a flat percentage. They don't adjust it. I'm pretty sure they take, I don't want to get this wrong. I feel like it was 25%.
Boy,
so
that's high.
Yeah, I mean, and that's quarterly. So that's what McDonald's takes. So that, out of the 75% you have left.
And that's just going back to corporate.
Yeah, out of the 75% you have left, you still have to do payroll. You still have to buy inventory. You still have to, pay for, if you've got landscaping, if you've got, this, that, and the other utilities. And that's all before you ever take a check home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it works for some people. I guess it would depend on, like, what businesses that you're opening up. Like, if you have, like, a Home Depot, that thing's going to make money.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you have a Home Depot...
But I don't think Home Depots are franchised.
I think they are.
Are they with that much inventory? I feel like that's a lot of liability to just hand off to somebody.
I'm not sure how that works, but I'm pretty certain that... I was listening to, like, a podcast the other day, and it's like the Andy Stanley Leadership Podcast or whatever, and they had, like, a dude on there who used to be the CEO of Home Depot, and I think that he had mentioned something about, like, franchisees or something like that. So I'm assuming that they're franchised.
Wow.
And I think a lot of what it is, too, if you become, like, a store manager or whatever, like, you have to start out hourly.
Yeah.
Which I think is an interesting concept.
Yeah, I think so, too. They don't want you to rest on your laurels right away. Yeah.
You need to come in and be like, having like a business administration bachelor's degree and be like, all you schmucks.
Yeah.
The dude's never even touched a hammer before.
Yeah. It'd be like the one in town, you just go hang out in the Zaxby's all day long for your entire shift. Like, I make salary, whatever. They don't even know I'm not there. Yeah. If it were me, like if I owned a business, I feel like, I don't know if I would do franchise. Simply because...
If I could get Chick-fil-A, I'd do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I had the capital to put
very
up,
particular, they'd be very particular franchises that I'd be willing to do, not just any old franchise.
I meant like if I was the president of.
Oh, you're talking about like if you were president of like
a
the
company.
CEO of like a corporate office.
I don't think I would do franchises simply because there's too many variables as far as like unless you do like go the Chick-fil-A route and you vet people for 3 years and you know it's so costly in order to your upfront capital is so high, I feel like you're taking a lot of risk with like inconsistent quality and this, that, and the other, and that's why some McDonald's are garbage and some of them are pretty decent. Like the one over there near your house is probably the worst McDonald's that has ever existed. No. The Taco Bell KFC in town
is absolutely
it's an absolute goddamn nightmare.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
It has always been.
I don't remember a time where it's never been a nightmare.
I don't remember. It's always been bad.
They're constantly failing health inspections.
I don't know how they're still open.
They're constantly failing health inspections. They give you the wrong food. The food's cold.
So bad.
Like you would think too, if I was like the CEO of a company, especially for like something like that, and I knew that there was like problem areas.
Yeah.
And it's not like where we live. There's a decent amount of people, enough to where you could make a decent amount of money off that franchise.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Especially considering you're, one of the only other chicken and Mexican, hybrid places.
Exactly. So it's like, wouldn't you think?
For the longest time, they were the only place where you could get fried chicken. Yeah. They were the only one. Yeah.
But you would think, though, like as a CEO or like maybe like a corporate executive or something like that, you'd be like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
I'd
put like a lot of focus on that area and try and
wouldn't you like want to come down
Mm-hmm.
or at least like come down for like a couple days and be like, what in the world is going on at this store?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's because they've got two operations going on in the same building, but I've seen places like that operate just fine.
Yeah. I've seen places before that have 3 in there and they operate just fine. Because usually they attach a Pizza Hut to it too.
Yeah. I mean, all that food's assembly line anyway.
Yeah, it's not like it's not cooked fresh. It comes in a bag and they just throw it in a fryer.
It's like when you see those videos where people are like, you like this is what you're really eating when you go to Taco Bell. It's like, look, I know.
Yeah.
I know what Taco Bell is. I know that it's not. I know that it's wood pulp. I get that. I also know that it's delicious, and I love it.
I've made my decision.
Yeah, for real. It's like that Taco Bell near your house is fantastic. They are so quick, and they get the orders right. And
I've had problems with them before.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Every time I've been through there, it's they've been.
I've had problems
me.
with them before, and I get super irritated when I have problems with them.
Yeah.
Because the lane to go through the drive-through is just that lane.
Yeah. Once you're in, you're in.
Once you're in, you're in. So if they're being slow, you can't get out.
Yeah, you're there for the long haul.
Well, kudos to them for doing it that way.
Yeah.
Because most of the time you're frustrated by the time you get to the window. You're like, well, I guess I'm fucking here anyway.
That one in Douglasville is the same way. Over there on Douglas Boulevard. No, that's not on Douglas Boulevard. It's the one, what's the name of that road? You know where Highway 5 intersects right there at the Circle K and Chick-fil-A?
You talking about the one that's down there on the right past the Dairy Queen?
Yeah.
It used to be over where the old Walmart, the Cub Foods and everything is. Yeah.
Yeah, that Taco Bell's the same way. Once you get in their line, you're in.
Yep, you're in.
Yeah. They ain't letting you go.
No.
You're going to accept whatever shitty food we give you. You already paid for it.
I remember way back in the day, I don't know if you remember this or not, but the Taco Bells used to have like the white and gray, like speckled colored linoleum floors.
Yeah.
With like the purple and white.
Oh, yeah.
And like
I miss,
teal benches and stuff.
I miss the 90s Taco Bell aesthetic. I miss it, man. They had like the,
I feel like everybody in there had like frosted tips.
Yeah, everybody, yeah. And like, there was always like those zigzag lines.
Yeah.
And yeah. I really missed that aesthetic. I thought it was really cool.
And
the 90s
like,
had a lot of style.
Yeah, they had like the thing where you could drop the quarter in the thing and turn
had little bubbles coming up out of it. Yeah, every single one of them had that on the counter.
Had it.
Yeah.
And one time I won a burrito.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I won a burrito.
It
was a regular burrito.
Yeah.
That was back when Taco Bell wasn't adventurous as they are now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like a super grande nacho supreme burrito. It's like, well, what's in that? Beef,
cheese, lettuce,
cheese.
sour cream.
You're like, oh, okay.
The same as everything else. Yeah. Didn't they have a taco one time where the shell was like a fried chicken patty?
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
What was
it? We were talking about that the other day. We missed back in the early 2010s where it's like
it was just a fucking free for all.
Yeah, it was a free for all. They didn't care. You had KFC doing a sandwich that was 2 fried chicken patties for the buns
with cheese and bacon in between.
It
And
was
you know
amazing.
what? It was good.
It was so good.
It was very good. For a while there, they had a chicken sandwich where the buns were 2 glazed donuts.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I never got one.
I never got one, but I remember seeing it. The one that still gets me is the fucking Hardee's hamburger with a hot dog and potato chips on it. The All-American. I'm pretty sure it was called.
Hardee's is already preposterous as it is.
Yeah.
Hardee's is already preposterous as it is because we have both eaten a Monster Burger before, and you feel like nothing but shit afterwards.
Yeah, you immediately feel like death. It's you know, if you got that same burger, if you made that same burger at home, you wouldn't feel as bad afterwards. No. But the fact that it's that much of a fast food burger, it's offensive.
I'm telling you, one of my favorite fast food places. Have you ever eaten at like any of the cookouts?
I have never been to a cookout.
It's actually really good.
Is it?
Yeah. The thing that I like about their French fries is they brine them in like salt water.
Okay.
So like they don't like sprinkle salt on it. Like it's already brined in salt water, so that way when they fry it up or whatever, like the inside of the potato is what is salty.
I might have to try that.
Yeah.
Because I hate getting soggy unsalted fries.
Ugh. And who used to be the worst at that was Wendy's.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. You know, their thing now is their new thing is like our fries are guaranteed fresh and crispy every single time. Because they've redone their fries again.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah. And I've gone through and gotten them, and I'm like, oh, these are just Wendy's fries. There's nothing different.
No.
Yeah. And their spicy chicken nuggets that they brought back are not the same spicy chicken nuggets that they used to have. They're damn liars. The old ones were way better.
I don't understand what it is with some of these fast food restaurants where it's like they have like a clear winner on the menu. It's like, and then they yank it off.
Yeah, Taco Bell's the fucking worst about that.
Yeah, they had a bunch of them. They had the volcano menu, which was amazing.
The volcano taco was like the best shit.
Amazing. And the volcano burrito was really good too.
Yeah.
And then they had the chicken flatbread. The chicken flatbread was really, really good.
Yeah.
And they yanked that off the menu too.
They used to have the taco that had a black shell, but it had like a peppercorn ranch sauce on the top of it. That one was really good. I remember when they brought nacho fries. I think nacho fries are okay. I don't think they're amazing or anything, but so many people loved them. And when they brought them around the first time, and they were like, sorry, guys, no more of those.
Yeah. I remember the first time I had nacho fries before they introduced them here in the States was apparently that's a thing up in Canada.
Yeah.
That is a staple of that menu.
Yeah, a lot of fast food restaurants have like staples in different countries that they don't have over here.
Yeah, one time when I was traveling for my old job, I was up in Quebec. And up in Canada, they have you ever heard of poutine before?
Yeah, it's just fries with gravy on it.
Yeah, fries with gravy and like cheese curds and stuff. And apparently, that's one of the staples there at McDonald's. Well, they had a buffalo chicken poutine.
Yeah.
So it was like chicken strips that they had like sliced up or whatever, and they like drizzled buffalo sauce all over it.
Yeah.
And they set it like on a bed of fries with like cheese curds, and it was so good.
Yeah, I bet it was.
And it's also amazing too, like how. This is a personal opinion. I think McDonald's is a fucking shit show. And that's pretty much any time I've ever been to a McDonald's.
Yeah.
But like up in Canada, like anytime I've ever been to a McDonald's in Canada, it's a totally different experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like up in Canada, was it A&W? Is like massive. Like
that's their version of Sonic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like their version of Sonic, but it's a big fast food chain up there. Like everybody eats it. And like down here, you can't find an A&W.
Which is weird because an A&W is American and West, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what it stands for?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Have you been to the Sonic in town recently? Have you gone through the drive-thru specifically?
Yeah, I actually had a pickup from there the other day.
How goddamn loud is that speaker?
Yeah. You know who had... And it's not as bad as it used to be. You know who had the worst fucking speaker? We both know. Is Martin's.
Oh, Martin's, yeah. God, Martin's is the fucking worst. Like, you get there, and they're like, yeah, can I get a chicken biscuit? They're so quick. Like, can I get a chicken biscuit? Chicken burger. And steak, egg, tree. Your total source window.
You're like, all right. And then you just like pull around and like, I'll ask questions when I get to the window.
And somebody with 3 teeth and a cigarette like just leans their head out the window. Good morning, honey.
Yeah. You're like, oh boy.
Everybody's covered in flour and butter.
Yeah. And then like by the time you get the stupid bag home, it's like it's leaked all in your car because like the whole bottom of the bag is just nothing but grease.
Yeah. Yeah, everything is so damn greasy, especially if you get. Have you ever like gotten a hash brown from Martin's?
Oh, I can't eat them.
I can't. It's like they fry it, and then right before they give it to you, they put in that little paper sleeve. Yeah. They give it like a and the oil one more time. And they give it to you. There you go. I feel like Martin's is actively trying to kill people, but it's so good.
They have the best biscuits.
Yeah, I wish that they would open up another location. Because just to take some traffic away from the only one in town.
Yeah.
But I feel like you know as well as I know, the people who would go to that one would be the one who wanted Martin's but didn't want to go to this one.
Exactly.
And then this one would just be wrapped up too. Yeah. So they would both be wrapped up.
Yeah. Do you think that Martin's has better biscuits? Or do you think that Maple Street Biscuit Company has better biscuits? Or do you think it's different?
It's different. It's like... Maple Street's kind of more of a restaurant experience where Martin's is like what you get to eat before a 13-hour shift at a warehouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like this sad thing that happens early in the morning that, you can't not be a part of. Maple Street is like,
And we know because we used to work one of those jobs.
Maple Street is like you get the family together and you go to Maple Street.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. I think out of all the jobs that I've ever had, that quite possibly was the worst one.
That was easily the worst one. The only reason I would put that one above working at Simmons is because we didn't make any money. Because we were working through a fucking temp agency.
I made enough money to drive back and forth to work.
Yeah. Yeah, your 25-mile drive in that GMC Sierra screaming down I-20. Look, that thing maxed out at, 75 miles an hour?
No, that's when I was living in Kennesaw.
No, yeah, you're right.
I was living in Kennesaw.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it was, that was after, essentially, I had failed out of college.
Yeah, fuck that job. That job sucked. Remember the building caught on fire?
I do remember that.
Have we talked about that on the podcast before?
I don't know. I don't think we have. Why don't you tell the story? You tell it better than I do.
So, well, before we hop into that, let's bring in the podcast. We're 25 minutes into it already.
Yeah, well.
We got to talk about food. Yeah, hello and welcome to the Thicc Bois podcast. This is episode 22, I believe, right? Is it 22?
Yeah, 22.
If it's not episode 22, I'll bleep that out and I'll add in the right one.
There you go. You should do like one of the text-to-speech voices.
Yeah, like the Microsoft Sam.
Yeah.
I used to be able to do like a robot voice, like if you breathe in while talking at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like, hello, my name is Brandon. I am a robot. But yeah, what were we talking about?
Bring it to the podcast?
No. Before
episode 22?
Before that. I completely
Oh,
linked.
when the warehouse caught on fire.
Yeah, okay, the warehouse. All right. So, yeah, we used to work at this fucking warehouse that, what did they have there? It was just all kinds of...
It was like terry towels, a lot of towels.
Yeah, lots of towels.
Lots of towels.
But they also had like walkie-talkies.
Yeah, walkie-talkies.
Yeah,
and
just
stuff.
a strange amalgamation of different
but
things.
we never got to touch those because that was the expensive product.
Yeah. Well, I was working with I was over there working with Sydney and Black, and we were working with Shaggy to break down those pallets because they had a bunch of pallets that they had to break down and then move whatever was inside those pallets onto a different pallet and then pallet that up.
Yeah.
And so while we were working on that, lunchtime had rolled around, or break time, the first break of the day. I can't remember exactly which one it was.
Yeah, usually the first break was somewhere around like 9:30 or something.
Something like that. Yeah. And the warehouse is extremely long, so where you walk into the building into where I worked was about a 10-minute walk. Like, it was really that far away. Well, in between that area, you had the people who were, you'd have a truck that would come in, and the truck was completely full of boxes and boxes of terry towels. And you'd have a guy who would drive in with a forklift, and he would get a box out, and then he would bring it over to the station where another group of people would unbox them, and then they would put them in a different box, and then those boxes would go into a different truck. So there's a lot of spare cardboard laying around. So one guy's job was to take a forklift that had like a clamp kind of mechanism on it, where like it was like these big like clamps on either side, and it would squeeze in, like, it was grabbing them.
Yep.
And he would grab up the cardboard with it, and he would drive it up into this empty container they had backed up to one of the bays, and he would drive up into the container, drop off the cardboard, and he would come back out. Well, after several hours of doing that, it was full of lots of cardboard.
It was hot that day.
And it was hot that day. It was like 100-something degrees that day. So inside of that container, it was probably somewhere closer to 140, 150 degrees, maybe even higher. Who knows? Because it got hot as fuck in those trucks.
Yeah.
Well, break time happens, and I go to walk back towards the entrance of the building, and I see him drive that forklift up into that container, and then all of a sudden, a column of fire erupts out of the docking bay into the building like a jet was taking off. It was like, and he came out of the fire in reverse on that forklift, and he was going, fuego, fuego, fuego. It's like, yes, we see the fuego. Mucho fuego. What had happened was it was extremely dry inside that container, and it was full of dry cardboard, so it was ready to go up at any given minute. And what happened was there's no those forklift wheels are very slick, so when he drove in there, he drove over a piece of cardboard, and when he went to back out, he spun his wheel on cardboard, and it caused a friction fire, and the whole thing went up. But he didn't get hurt, which is amazing.
Yeah, amazing, because that fire was massive.
Yeah, it was a full-on fucking fire. I mean, it was huge. Like, I will never forget the visual of that column of fire blowing into the building like a rocket was taking off.
Yeah, because I think, who is it? Me and Matt were, like, back, like, in the, where they, like, go put up all the palletized towels and everything.
Yeah.
So we were back in the back. And all of a sudden, we just hear people screaming, and then, like, the sprinkler system turns on. And me and Matt are like, what the fuck? And then, so we start running towards the front, and then, like, all we see is just, like, this fire, like, coming into the building. It is scorching the top of the building. And then, so we all book it outside, and we're all sitting out there. And I remember we're like, yeah, we're going to get to go home early today.
Yeah.
And then by the time the fire department got done, they're like, all right, grab a squeegee.
Yep.
I was like, you motherfuckers.
They made us push all the water out of the building. Yeah, it was like, that had never occurred to me before. The fire department isn't there to clean up afterward.
No, they just put the fire out.
They just put the fire out, yeah. We were, like, grabbing pallets and, like, scraping them along the floor to push water out of the building.
That was such a shitty day.
That was an awful day. It was so bad.
Yeah, that quite possibly is the worst job I have ever worked in my life.
It was, yeah, I probably wouldn't have ranked it so high if the temp agency didn't take over half of my paycheck. But, yeah, that was still pretty bad.
I think I was making, like, $7.13 or something like that. I think I was making less than minimum wage. Because technically they weren't paying me minimum wage.
Yeah.
They were giving the temp agency like $14.
Yeah.
Which is certainly not minimum wage.
No.
And that temp agency, I don't know how they managed it.
I don't know how that, because that doesn't benefit the employer, right?
Well, I mean, you would imagine though that's not really. You just need labor. You just need people to come in and do stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess
like,
so.
I don't really care about whether or not these people want to be here. Like, just do the job.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't, then I'll get the temp agency to hire somebody else.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, it was fucking miserable, though. The thing that was so bad about working at Simmons was just the monotony. Just standing there at that machine for 12 hours.
See, I didn't mind it. I guess because I just enjoyed running the machines. Like, I enjoyed making the stuff. I
don't know. Like, it was, if you got like if you had a part that took 30 minutes to run, that was a good day. It made the day go by quick.
No.
But if you had like,
well, if you're
500
running, if
parts,
you're running like a lathe with like washers and stuff on it.
Yeah, and you're doing one washer at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was miserable.
The worst part about that whole job was getting that shit out of the lathe or getting it out of the mill.
Yeah.
And it having all those fucking burrs on it.
Yeah.
And then cutting the flying fuck out of yourself.
Yeah, with like a burr knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, burr knife, a deburr tool leaves a horrible cut. If you've got like a square of like metal and you're trying to shave the burr off of it, and you like run it down your arm, and that like wicked looking blade just whack.
Yeah, well, there's that, and then you got all the fucking metal shavings that were everywhere.
Yeah.
That would slowly work their way up through your shoes.
Mm-hmm. You remember the coolant that would like coagulate at the bottom? It looked like a big soup of like boogers. It would get that sour smell after a while.
Which is funny because I remember like as a kid being like, Dad always had like this particular smell to him.
Yeah.
And then like once I started working there, I was like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, that's what that smell is.
Like, it's this fucking coolant.
But did you notice when you came into the restaurant yesterday for lunch that it smelled a particular way?
Not particularly.
So when I got there, I think I got there like as soon as they opened. I think they might open right at 11.
Yeah.
Or maybe 10:30. I don't know. But the whole entire Mexican restaurant smells a specific way. And what it is when it's before they've started cooking anything and all that gets in the air. It's the smell of them frying the tortilla chips.
No.
And it's putrid. And it was one of the worst smells while working at the Mexican restaurant was when they would start frying up those chips because it was so dense and inescapable. And it would just work its way into your body. Like you would just smell like fried tortilla chips, which you think that sounds like, hey, that sounds like it would smell pretty good. It doesn't.
Yeah, you would think it's just fried corn. Yeah. Like fried corn paste.
I don't even know how to explain the smell other than just thick. It smells thick. Yeah. I think that's the best way to put it.
I remember working at the restaurant over in Atlanta, and I remember just coming home in it's hard to explain the smell. And I think probably everybody that works in food, like some type of food industry, maybe other than like barbecue places, they actually smoke their meat.
Yeah.
Because they probably just smell like a smoker.
Yeah.
But working at the restaurant in Atlanta, like there's just like this particular smell that I couldn't get it out of my clothes.
Yeah.
You know? And especially too because like one of their main things was fish.
Oh yeah.
So it was like a fish pub.
Yeah.
So it was like this
come home smelling like a marina.
Yes, it's like a fried fish smell. But when it would sit on your clothes, that's not what it smelled like.
Yeah. It would like mix with like your body sweat and
Well, that too, and especially at that place because they had like outside dining, but the outside dining wasn't directly outside; it was up. So you had to go up like 2 flights of stairs to get to the upstairs part.
Yeah.
So then you were running downstairs and upstairs the whole time.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shit show.
I always hated when people would sit on the patio in the really hot months.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, go inside.
Yeah, why? We have air conditioning in
be
here.
Be civilized.
Yeah. They'd sit outside and you'd come out there and they'd be sweating and like there'd be like flies buzzing around them.
It's like, I know you're not having a good time.
All the ice in their drink melted. They had this hot ass burrito to eat.
And it's probably like some dude and his like girlfriend sitting there. She's like, we're having a good time. We're having a good time.
She's like, can we sit on the patio? Oh my God. He's like the whole ride there. He's like, I hope she doesn't ask to sit on the patio.
And he's just fucking miserable.
He's like, just because the sun's out doesn't mean it's a nice day.
And then she starts crying.
Yeah, you always do this. I want to go have a nice dinner. You know, I have a nice dinner. And I can't control this thought. I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
He was like, I'm sorry. It's hot. He's like, I've been working in the warehouse all day. I wanted to sit in some air conditioning.
She's like, I just thought it would be a nice adventure. We could do something different.
An adventure. Yeah, it's fucking miserable. It's like, you know, I have a lot of good memories of working in a restaurant, but namely that's where I met Mary. So if it weren't for that, I probably would have never met her. But yeah, I would never work in a restaurant again, ever.
No.
I would never do food service again.
No.
And the majority of that is the customers.
Absolutely. It had nothing to do with the people that I worked with.
People are the fucking worst. The general populace is horrible to work with.
But I could not imagine being forward-facing with the general populace anymore in any type of capacity.
Yeah.
In any type of capacity. Yeah. Like, this is the most I'm willing to do is this podcast.
Yeah.
Other than that, I want to work in a very specific industry with people who have very specific knowledge.
We had this one lady that came in, and it was her and her 3 kids, and she was extremely rude, and she complained about everything, every single thing. And she was just a fucking nightmare. And she was a camper, too, so they stayed at the table for a real long time. Sucking up real estate that I could have had for another table.
Exactly.
Another better customer. It always sucked, too, like when you notice, like, you got a shitty customer and the next table that came in after that was, like, a really good customer. And, like, the other server was like, hey, welcome in. Yeah. Well, I already knew she wasn't going to tip. I just knew.
No.
Because of the way she was acting and everything. And
She came in with an attitude.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, this isn't going to be good for me. It's not going to be good for her. Nobody's going to enjoy this. So it comes time to pay, and her card declines. And I got the biggest, like, Cheshire cat smile across my face.
Uh-oh.
And I walked back over with the book, and I said, ma'am, your card declined. And I said it just as shit-eating as I possibly could. She immediately flies off the handle. My card didn't decline. Blah, 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 this, that, and the other.
That's not what this says.
Yeah, so I took her up to the front, and I showed her. I was like, the payment isn't going through, ma'am. You don't have enough money.
Yeah.
And she wants to speak to the manager, of course. And the manager's not going to be like, oh, well, it's on the house.
Yeah, no.
He's like, well, you got to get somebody down here who could pay for this.
Yeah.
So
then that ate up more time.
Yeah, so he sits and argues with her for about 20 minutes. And then the manager turns, he comes and gets me, and he says, her husband's going to come down here and pay, and he'll leave you a tip. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure he will.
Sure he will.
And guess what? He showed up, he paid, he didn't leave no tip.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, so it was like a 50-hour-long ordeal, and I made no money.
No. Yeah, it's like I said, it's like you said, is that the issue with working in the food industry is not the immediate people that you work with, like the other employees that work at the restaurant. Like, most of the time, like, I met some pretty interesting people.
Oh, yeah, especially the kitchen staff.
Yeah,
is usually,
kitchen staff is usually pretty interesting.
It's a very specific kind of person that works behind the counter.
And then, but yeah, just the people that come in. And I think what it is, too, is that if you have, like, good customers that come in, they don't necessarily leave so much of an impression as the bad ones.
Well, yeah. Well, that's like with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to remember every good experience.
Yeah.
But you'll remember all the shitty ones.
I mean, I got to meet Hank Aaron. I mean, that was a pretty cool experience. So I have no idea where that signature is now. It's lost to time, I guess.
What did you have him sign?
It was just one of the menus.
Yeah.
I went up and I told him, I was like, hey, because everybody like kept coming up to his table and like was trying to get him to come do some type of like charity event or something.
Everybody was
bothering him and everything.
He's like, I just want to eat.
Yeah, and the whole time like I didn't acknowledge like who he was or like any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, hey, I'm just like, just let him eat his fucking dinner. Like, I don't want to bother him either.
Yeah.
And then like right before like they got ready to pay, I said, listen, I don't want a tip. I was like, just sign one of these menus for me.
Yeah.
And like I just gave it to him. He signed it, and then they left like a $15 tip.
Yeah. He probably really appreciated that you weren't up his ass the whole time.
Yeah. It's because I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me either.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you can't come out and like have a meal and like not be bothered.
Mm-hmm. I used to have to work. There was a couple of days a week where I worked doubles. So I'd work like the morning shift, and then I'd have like a 2-hour break, and then I'd come back and work the dinner shift or whatever. And I think it was a Saturday morning. It was me and one other server and one cook for the Saturday morning shift. It was usually pretty, we could handle that. Yeah. And he was a good cook. He was quick. I was standing up front at the hostess station because I didn't have anything to do. There's nobody in the building.
No.
And I was just kind of on my phone. And I look up, and this charter bus pulls into the parking lot.
Like, oh, no.
I just immediately locked my eyes on it like, this can't be. And 50 Asian people get off of this charter bus, and they're like tourists.
Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck they're doing in our town.
What are you
this is
doing
not a tourist
out here?
This is not a tourist
This is
location.
not where you come to be a tourist.
And it's just the pool of Asian people keeps getting larger and larger outside of this bus, and I'm like, where are they going? Because Sumo's down that way. Sumo's on the other end of this building.
And this is the only two places to eat.
Yeah. And they start walking towards the front door. And I'm like, oh, no. There's only two of us and one cook.
You go into panic mode.
And they come through the front door, and they're all going, fajita, fajita, fajita. And I was like,
oh, you're like,
okay.
This is going to be a long day.
This is going to be a good one. And so I just start seating them. And they take up the entire, like, middle of the whole floor.
Yeah.
And I asked them what they wanted to drink. Everybody wanted water.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, I can do that.
Yeah, that's easy for me.
I just bring out some waters, put out some chips and salsa for him. And I said, I was like, okay, well, I'll start with this table. I said, what do you guys want to eat? And one of them just looks up at me in perfect English, goes, we just want chicken fajitas for everybody.
Okay.
Okay. And I went and I told the cook, and I typed in the order. I didn't tell him what had come in. I typed in the order for 50 chicken fajitas. And
he was like, God damn it!
He was standing there. I typed it in. I was looking at him, and it was printing off the ticket, and he's watching it print off. And he's just kind of looking at it, and then I see the expression on his face as the ticket keeps coming out. It's already like a foot long, and it just says chicken fajita over and over. And he looks at me. It's Javi, and Javi doesn't speak English. He looks at me. He goes, "¿Por qué? No, ¿por qué no?" He did. I guess he thought I was fucking with him.
Yeah.
Because he came out from around the counter and he looks into the dining room.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh my God!" You can see it in his face.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got it taken care of.
Well, at least it was just waters and chicken fajitas.
I mean, it could have been way worse than
that.
Yeah. But he was cooking his ass off back there, making all them chicken fajitas.
He's probably just like spent by the end of the shift.
Thankfully, no other customers came in during all that, because that was rough.
Yeah, I remember. We had?
And they left me a $40 tip too.
Really?
Yeah, it was nice.
I remember one time when I was working at the restaurant in Atlanta, I guess they didn't realize that there was like some type of like 5K or something that was like right down the street from where they were.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had the morning shift over there, and it was like me, a hostess, like 2 or 3 cooks, and like one other server.
Yeah.
I think there was maybe 5 or 6 of us that were on shifts that morning. And like I got done like getting everything set up and everything, and so I got everything set up and ready to go, and just people start pouring in.
Yeah.
And we fill up the whole bottom section of the restaurant, and there's just 2 of us. So it's like me and this other girl.
They just keep coming.
And so I told her, I was like, you take. We'll just split it in half.
Yeah.
I was like, you have this whole section of the restaurant, and I have this whole section of the restaurant. Like, we'll just do our best.
That's all we can do.
That's all we can do. I was like, if you miss an order, it is what it is. And the worst part about it is that we didn't have a dishwasher that was on.
Oh shit!
On staff at the time, so then like we were also washing dishes.
Oh no!
And like the cooks are back there cooking.
Yeah.
And then like by the time like 1 o'clock rolls around, like I've only been there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Or whatever, however long it's been. And then it's like, and I had a double shift that day.
Oh.
So then I like left and went to Little 5 Points and went and ate something down there and then came back.
Mm.
You might want to pause this. I got to take this call real quick.
Okay. Hey Mark, what have you got for lunch today? Raw beets and kale water? You? Raw kale and beet water.
What's up, fuckers?
It's Hardy's man.
Get that shit out of your head and eat like a man.
Whoa!
It's the new Ultimate American Extra Big Ass Flavor Suck My Dick Obama Pizza Taco Burger. We packed so much flavor and calories into this one sandwich. Then fuck you! One large all-meat pizza stuffed inside a chicken and steak taco, double battered, deep fried, and double fucked between 2 glazed donuts with anti-commie sauce.
I'll take 2.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh.
Hardee's, eat shit and die, faggot.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah, the restaurant industry has, it can give and it can take.
Mostly it takes.
Yeah, your sanity.
Yeah.
I'll never work with the fucking
absolutely not.
Customer service ever again. But you know what? I think that people should have to work. People should have to do their time.
Yeah.
You know, if you in order to go to a restaurant, you need to have worked in one.
Yeah.
You need to understand what it's like to be on the other end of that shit. It's like I always make it a point to, be kind and courteous to the wait staff because, for one, they're handling your food.
No.
And, they're dealing with shitty people and, they might be having a bad day. And I usually will tip 20%. If, what I ordered is, if if 20% of what I ordered is not, how am I trying to say this? I tip $5 minimum.
Yeah.
So I never tip less than $5. If 20% is not more than that.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I always tip well, just because I know that it sucks to. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks being there. It sucks doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Most of the time, like if I'm in a restaurant and I know that like if I like order lunch or something like that and it's like $6, and most of the time, like yesterday, like I got like a water and like something quick to eat or whatever. It's like I usually try to make it a point of like eating it, like giving at least more than 20%. And then maybe like $2 or $3 or whatever, but then also like trying to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
That way they can seat somebody else. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Campers were the worst when they'd just come in and they would sit at the same table for like 6 hours, especially if they got there like right at the start of the dinner.
Yeah.
The dinner service, because they're just like, I'm gonna start charging you people fucking rent.
Yeah.
Especially if they stayed after closing.
Yeah.
And you're like mopping the floor around them, and then they're like, oh,
wiping their table.
They're like, oh, do we need to leave? Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. We are closed.
We are closed. We closed an hour ago.
Oh, the worst is when you'd have somebody come in like 15 minutes before the kitchen closed.
Yeah.
And most of the time, people that came in 15 minutes before the kitchen closed, they didn't tip no way. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I don't know who these random elements are that are doing this shit.
Yeah,
but stop it. If you're that person, stop it.
Yeah, stop doing those things. It's like, and if you are going to come in 15 minutes before the kitchen closes, at least leave a decent tip.
Aaron had some pretty good stories about people complaining about the food.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he spill beans on somebody one time?
He spilled beans on Mac, who was one of the other servers.
He spilled like hot beans down his bag.
Boiling hot refried beans. Oh, that was I wish Aaron was here to tell that, but I think he was just a food runner at the time. Aaron wasn't a server yet, and he was taking the food out to Mac's table. Mac was going to help him divvy it out or whatever, and Mac had leaned over to put a plate down on the table, and I think Aaron was setting down the tray. And he kind of had it tilted because some of those trays were warped and slick, and they didn't hold the plates very well. And he kind of tilted it, and a plate of refried beans slid off of it. It hit Max square in the back, and just all those hot beans. He said that Mac immediately just like. He said that one time a guy ordered enchiladas but said he didn't want any brown gravy on it.
Brown gravy?
I think he meant enchilada sauce.
Yeah.
And Aaron was like, it won't have any brown gravy on it.
I promise.
I promise you. He said another guy asked him for some more pancakes. He meant tortillas. I had somebody ask me for a bowl of Alfredo sauce for their chips. I just was like, what do you mean? And they were like, yeah, the white stuff. I was like, cheese dip?
Yeah, cheese dip.
It's not Alfredo sauce.
Alfredo sauce. It's some type of like Italian Mexican hybrid restaurant.
Yeah. Oh. I have a good idea for a restaurant. I've actually got two. So the first one is called Leftovers. That's the name of the restaurant.
No.
We cook everything the day before.
Just heat it up.
And we heat it up for you when you come in.
No matter what it is.
Well, what we do is we have refrigerators
yeah.
in the area. So you walk in, you look in the fridge and see if there's any leftovers you want to eat. And when you bring it to us, we'll heat it up for you, and then you pay us. So we have things like spaghetti, chili, cold pizza. If you want to eat it cold, you can totally do that.
Like salmon and asparagus.
Yeah. Because people love leftovers. Some stuff is better the next day.
Yeah.
My other idea is, I don't have a name for it yet, but we only sell frozen foods. So like pizza rolls, bagel bites, frozen pizzas, stuff like that. Because that stuff's pretty good. Well, tell me one restaurant you can go to and get pizza rolls.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. There might be some legality problems there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder how that would work as far as like purchasing and then like rebranding the content.
Yeah. But, sometimes you just want some bagel bites. But I don't want to go buy bagel bites and take them home and preheat the oven and I can just swing by over here at Gary's restaurant. He's got bagel bites.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like, in theory, that sounds like a really good idea. You know, you could probably do that with like a food truck and be much more successful.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I don't know what you would name it, though. It'd have to be something like...
It'd have to be something very, like, witty.
Yeah, very witty. I don't know if I'm witty enough to come up with something like that. You know that dude over in Hiram who sells hot dogs in the Home Depot parking lot?
Yeah.
That dude makes bank.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Out of his little hot dog stand?
Yeah.
He sells a shitload of hot dogs. Like, I think he probably clears about $100,000 a year. Just out of that little hot dog stand.
You know his overhead is nothing.
It's nothing.
It's nothing.
He probably hasn't had overhead for the past 6 years.
Yeah. There's no overhead.
Everything's paid for.
That's what I've always told people when they're like, I'm going to open up a restaurant. It's like, you should do a food truck. As like, if you're going to do a restaurant, you need to start out as a food truck first.
Yeah. Keep your overhead low.
As you keep your overhead low, it's like, and you can move your restaurant. Like, you don't have to stay in the same spot. It's like, so if the spot that you're in isn't working,
go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, you probably have like permits and stuff you gotta do, or you gotta get permission from like the city municipalities. Like, can I, park here and do this, whatever. Yeah. But that's still probably a lot cheaper than having to rent out like a business park and like do all that shit.
Yeah, because you're paying for like the rent on the building, and then you're paying for the utilities on the building.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, fuck, right now, putting gas in a food truck.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, gas is fucking stupid. I can't believe how high it is right now.
Yeah, yesterday I pulled up and put gas in the car, and I put $40 in, and I refused to put any more. I was like, I will not put any more than $40 in.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I was like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Dad just bought that big old truck.
Yeah, it sits there. He doesn't drive it. Because diesel's like $5 and like 65 cents.
As soon as he bought it, diesel got outrageous. Like right away. I know, he's like, God damn it.
It's just so absurd. It's like,
and not just gas and all that. I mean, the cost of living is skyrocketing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so I usually will buy groceries on Sunday, and I'll buy stuff for dinner for Sunday through Friday, and me and Mary might go out to eat on Saturday. Just for what is that, 6 days? For 6 days out of the week, it costs me close to $200 for groceries for 2 people. And that's just for dinner. So I'm not, cooking breakfast and lunch every day. No. And it's just me and Mary. So all the, and we don't live lavishly. We're not having steak and lobster every single night.
No.
I could have like 3 or 4 nights out of the week could be like spaghetti, hamburger helper, tacos, and like some other cheap thing.
No.
And then it's still $200 or close to it.
Yeah.
It's unfucking believable how expensive groceries are.
Yeah, it's the price of groceries has just fucking skyrocketed.
I mean,
I think it's directly tied. It has to be directly tied to inflation.
Well, yeah. I think that, supply chains are still fucked up.
Yeah, supply chains are still fucked up. I know the other day that I went into Walmart, and they had no chicken.
Yeah, chicken's been hard to come by.
No chicken.
Especially boneless, skinless chicken breasts.
And I know that there is not a shortage of chicken.
Yeah, firsthand.
I know firsthand there's not a shortage of chicken.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the amount of chicken that's running through those chicken factories or through those chicken plants.
We didn't run out of chicken, people.
Yeah.
They're still out there.
Yeah. Well, the company that I work for had a record-setting year for the equipment that they sold to these companies in order for them to process the chicken. So I know that there's chicken. Where's the chicken?
Yeah.
What are you doing with it? Are you?
Where's it going?
Yeah.
It's not going to the stores.
Are you creating a shortage? Like, is that what you're doing? Because that's the only thing that makes sense.
Well, you have supply chain issues, coming from overseas.
But chicken's not coming from overseas.
Chicken's not coming from overseas, but they still got to truck it across the country.
Well, yeah, they got to truck it. Yeah.
I know, a lot of truckers are on strike.
Yeah.
And and gas is so expensive, diesel is so expensive. I saw this thing the other day where some trucker filled up his tank. It cost him like $700. How can you look at that $700 price tag on your tank and be like, how is this worth it? Like, how is this worth it anymore?
Yeah, and I wonder, too, I wonder if they get reimbursed for mileage. I don't know how trucking works.
I don't know how it works. I would assume, in a perfect world, that the truckers get some kind of reimbursement or they get some kind of discount on their fuel. They should. I think that they should because they're keeping the country going by shipping, food and other necessities around the country so that we can have it.
Yeah.
And everybody has to eat, whether you're, a person working at the car wash or if you're running the country. You still got to eat. You still got to shit and wipe your ass. So they got to move paper towels and toilet paper around. You know who's got the worst fucking toilet paper? Racetrack.
Really?
I drive around.
Like
I drive
one play.
I drive around a lot during the day,
yeah.
so I often will have to shit in different gas stations.
Do you have favorites that you like to go to?
If I can avoid it, I'll try and go to Quick Trip if I can. But Quick Trip is a crapshoot, no pun intended. Because sometimes they have really nice stalls. Sometimes the stalls are really gross. Sometimes they don't have. Sometimes they have a single person bathroom and the door doesn't lock, like the one on Roswell Road. So it's kind of like an honor system.
Yeah.
But Racetrack has got the worst toilet paper. It's like wiping your ass with a page out of a magazine.
Ugh.
It's like slick. It doesn't have any grip. It doesn't gather well. You can easily go through a whole roll. You're like, God damn, what am I doing? Wiping a marker?
Yeah.
Nothing's going away.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than shitty toilet paper.
Yeah. Bad toilet paper, like feeble toilet papers, is like...
I can't stand like toilet paper that's like almost like translucent. It's so thin.
Yeah.
Because then you just go, it goes like when it's coming off the roll.
Like the shit they have at hospitals. No, I want my toilet paper to be really bad for the environment. Yeah. Like an inch thick. Yeah. Like wiping your ass with a block.
Quilted.
Yeah, quilted. Like those rolls are like $20 for a pack of 4 at the store, and like they might last you like one roll might last you like a day and a half.
Yeah, because they're so thick. There's like these big thick like toilet paper.
Yeah,
rolls.
there's like 20 sheets on that roll.
But as you're unrolling it, it just starts going like this and just getting smaller and smaller.
Thankfully, we never felt the impact of the toilet paper shortage back in 2020 when all that happened.
That was so weird.
That was weird.
Out of all the things that the pandemic produced, that was the strangest.
The toilet paper shortage was very strange.
It's like, why are you buying a bunch of toilet paper for a respiratory disease?
I don't know. I don't know why that happened.
You're not going to shit yourself to death.
I think what it was kind of like this cyclical thing where they said, hey, there's a toilet paper shortage when there wasn't.
Yeah.
So people went out and bought all the toilet paper and thus created a toilet paper shortage. That happens with every gas shortage.
No.
Every time somebody says, oh, there's going to be a gas shortage, everybody goes and buys up all the gas, and then there's no gas.
Yeah, I remember the whole time thinking, I was just like, this makes no sense. I was like, why a toilet paper shortage for a disease that makes you cough?
Yeah, it doesn't make you shit. Yeah, you don't shit yourself to death. It's not Ebola. You don't leak out of your asshole to death.
Yeah, like if Ebola became airborne, then I could understand.
Oh, that would be so bad. That was such a crazy time to start of all this because like people thought like 5G towers were causing coronavirus.
People stopped buying Corona beer because like the stock for Corona just tanked. I just remember thinking, I was like, surely not. Surely people aren't that stupid.
Oh, never underestimate the stupidity of people. People are very stupid.
I guess not.
They did a study on how many people think chocolate milk comes from brown cows. The number was really high from what I remember.
Like, who are these people?
I don't know. I've never met them. I don't think I've ever met them before. But they're out there, and they're out there in droves.
Do you think it's just like there's that many people, or is there's that many people that are just fucking trolling other people?
It could be that.
It has to be the latter.
It could be that, yeah.
It has to be the latter.
I'd like to believe that it's the latter, yeah.
There is no way there's that many people that think that chocolate milk comes from a brown cow.
You might have that thought for a moment when you're like a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not like well into your adulthood.
Yeah. There's no possible explanation for there being that many people that believe that.
Yeah, that would be like thinking that girls pee out of their butts.
Yeah.
As an adult. It's like things that kids believe.
Interesting story about that.
Uh-oh.
Is that I remember one time I didn't know. So I just thought when girls peed, it just like came out of like the same hole as their like just their vagina.
Yeah.
I was like, that makes sense. I have one hole, they have one hole.
Yeah.
So, like,
you didn't know that they had a hole above that hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I just kind of said it in conversation, and Allison's like, "What are you talking about?"
You said that to Allison? Well, you met Allison in high school, though.
Yeah.
So you were...
Yeah. So, but no, like, I don't ever remember hearing anybody, like, explain it to me. Like, it's just never something that got brought up in conversation. I just assumed, I was like, well, it's not like I have 2 holes on my wiener.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, my God. That's so funny.
I don't know. She was like, that's not how that works.
Like, you're kidding me. Really?
Was it? I remember one time I was, again, with Allison and, like, I think her mom or something, and they were talking about your uvula in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
And do you remember what it was always called when we were a kid?
Oh, wait, hang on. We called it a, oh, God, what did we call it? We had some stupid name for it. It was like a dongle or something like that? Or?
A goozle.
A goozle, yeah.
A goozle.
We called it a goozle.
Yeah. And I said something about a goozle, and they're like, we're like, a goozle? What are you talking about? I was like, that thing in the back of your throat. And I remember them being like, you mean your uvula? I was like, no.
No. I don't know what that is. I'm talking about a goozle.
I was just like, uvula? That sounds like a lady, lady parts.
Like, you know how girls have a flimbo? Boys have a doobab? It's common knowledge here, people.
I just remember them saying that, and I was like, oh, God.
It makes you never want to speak ever again.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just shut up for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's funny when you have things like that, like that, nobody has ever, discredited or corrected you on, and you never bring it up until one day you let it slip, and then like everybody's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It comes out in conversation.
Yeah. I remember, for the longest time, I thought that girls pooped out babies because they always said I have a baby in my stomach.
Yeah, like, well, you got.
I was like, well,
food goes there
stuff in your stomach comes out of your butt.
Poop.
Yeah, I was like, it would. Yeah. And I remember asking Mom. I was like, when do you think you'll be ready to poop out my brother? And
you done with that thing yet?
I just remember her looking at me, and she just looked away. She didn't even bother to like.
Didn't even acknowledge.
Like, Gary, that's not how that works. I remember you're the one who told me how babies were made.
Yeah, because I remember Dad told me, and I was like, what? I put it where?
Yeah, but you told me, and I remember how you told me. So it was like a game of telephone. Like, what Dad told you is not what you told me. I remember you came and told me. You had to have told me like immediately after he told you, because you came in there and you're like, Gary, I got to tell you where babies come from. And I was like, oh, fuck, really? And you said, boys and girls, they have sex, and the boy pees the baby into the girl. I remember thinking, like, I don't want to pee a baby. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, because I think I was like 7.
Yeah.
And like I just remember asking Dad. He's like, "Nah, fuck it," and just
Fuck it,
told
I'll
me.
tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember like the whole time I was like horrified.
Yeah, the truth of nature is pretty gross when you get down to it. Down to the utility of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's lots of fluids involved.
Yeah. It's not pretty. Not pretty.
It's like if you just had a close up of all this right here, you'd be like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
like,
what is this?
What the fuck's happening right now?" I remember in health class in 7th grade, they had us watch this video about like pregnancy and how babies are made and everything. Like it's very medical, you know.
No.
But they showed a diagram of a penis getting hard. It wasn't like a
it wasn't like a video.
It was like a video of a dude getting a boner.
It wasn't like a video of like somebody's dude going from like flash into like erect.
It was like a side view. You know, it showed like a transparency of a human body, like you could see like the blood, the testicles, all that stuff, and it was like a wiener like this, and it got so big, like I remember because everybody had like a good mind about it. They were like, okay, we're learning here. You know, nobody's taking this. We're like middle school, which is surprising. But nobody was like making a joke out of it. Yeah. But then the flaccid wiener got like this, and then it just kept getting. And everybody started laughing, and the teacher got mad at us. They were like, "Are you looking at this thing? This fucking guy has got a 16-inch dick." I mean, it was literally it got like this large.
Everybody in the class is like, "Oh God, is that what it's supposed to look like?"
Yeah. All the kids are like, "Oh, I don't have that. I don't have a tree branch."
Yeah. It's like, congratulations, you now made like a bunch of middle schoolers very self-conscious.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll do them. Yeah. That'll do them a lot of good.
Irreparable damage you just done.
Yeah, sex is you know, it's like that's one of those things like when's the right time to teach your kid about that? I think if you come at it like at a purely like medical approach.
No.
Like this is the way it operates on a mechanical level.
No.
You know, that's one thing, but like and you can't tell your kid like you get horny and you fuck someone and
then you slap her titties.
You slap her titties and then you spooge in her and I don't think you can't posit it that way. But I think that, you know, I remember Mom and Dad had to sign a waiver for us to be a part of that.
No.
To take that class or whatever. And I know that a lot of kids' parents were like, I don't want my kids learning about that.
It's like, well, they're going to learn about it somewhere.
They're going to learn about it one way or another. They're going to learn about it.
Yeah.
The thing is, do you want them to learn about it in an educational setting, or do you want them to learn about it from porn?
Yeah.
Or from, God forbid, from their stupid friends?
Yeah.
Like the obvious answer here is you want them to learn about it in an educational way.
Yeah. And like if you're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see what good it does, especially when kids are going through puberty.
Yeah.
It's like be like we got to talk. Like,
because they're going to start feeling a way, and
and it's not going to make any sense, and their hormones are going to be fucking going everywhere.
Yeah.
And what a fucking awful time in your life.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
12 to like 18 just sucked. It was awful. It's like your hormones are through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah, you never have like a neutral moment.
No.
You're always one emotion or another. You're like fucking horny all the time, and you've got like pimples are growing everywhere, and you've got hair coming out of your ass crack that didn't used to be there. Yeah. Like, what am I turning into a fucking monster? What's happening?
Yeah, I could not imagine being like a middle school teacher.
Yeah.
It's like all these kids, like
going through that.
Like I would feel bad for them.
Yeah.
I'd be like, it sucked. It's going
to
suck
for a long time.
It's going to suck for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like, and some of your hormones are going to make you extremely depressed, and you might not ever come out of it.
It might be like this forever. Yeah, I mean, I think you gotta. When they start getting that age, you know. And they start getting curious about like the other sex, or even the same sex, they start getting curious about sex.
Yeah.
It's really important to teach them about safe sex.
Absolutely.
And contraceptives and STDs. And, like, I feel like the first thing you need to show them is, like, a dude with herpes.
I remember.
And be like, this can happen to you.
I remember in 5th grade, before we went to elementary or before we went to middle school, I remember they had like a sex ed class or whatever. And Mom and Dad had to sign the waiver in order for me to do it. And that was like one of the first things they showed us.
Yeah.
Was like a dude that had like herpes all over his wiener.
Oh.
And it was the most disgusting thing. Like, that image is seared.
It's burned into your mind.
Seared into my mind. And I remember like I remember even like as a teenager, and like I wasn't promiscuous as like some of the other people.
Like some of your peers.
Some of my peers.
Yeah.
Some of my peers did not care. It's like that image flashed, like whatever.
That won't happen to me.
But for me,
same people who text and drive.
Yeah. But for me, I remember I saw that and I was like, and that never goes away.
Ever.
I was like, it's going to look like that forever.
Yeah, and on top of that, it hurts.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's like, and this is the only one I got, and I'm not getting another.
Yeah, you can't go down to the store and be like,
I can't go down to the 5 and dime and get a new wiener. That's how this works. I can't go to the bargain bin.
I don't know, we might get there one day. You might be able to go to the mall and go to one of the little kiosks,
Yeah.
where they're like showing off the new wieners and like flying them around.
like a drone.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, slaps you in the face. Hey, sorry. Still getting used to the controls of this thing. Yeah, I remember they taught us about like AIDS.
Yeah, that was a big one.
And like what HIV does to you, and like they're like, it's basically like a death sentence.
Yeah.
And back then it was. I don't think that AIDS is as big of an issue as it is now. I know that there's still like high HIV rates in certain places, but they have medication and treatment now that can. I know for a fact they have medication that can bring your HIV levels down to nothing, where it's not even transferable. But so they're on the cusp of completely eradicating it. They're getting there. But yeah, back then it was a big thing. I mean, still you don't want to go out and get AIDS.
No. No, you shouldn't be going out looking for that.
Yeah. I mean, I think what AIDS does is it completely wrecks your immune system.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the AIDS that kills you. It lowers your immune system so far down that something else will kill you.
Yeah.
It could be like a common cold.
Yeah. That's crazy to think that a cold would just take you right out.
And it's interesting to me that there's so many diseases that are just based around the reproductive system.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Isn't it interesting, like, that there's so many that are just for that? Like, that's the only thing that, well, not the only thing it attacks, but the main thing that it attacks is your reproductive system.
Yeah, like, I know that people can get oral herpes. Like
cold sores and stuff?
Cold sores and stuff. Yeah. But, like, you got herpes of the genitalia. You got, of course, HIV and AIDS. There's syphilis, there's gonorrhea, there's chlamydia, there's, crabs is just like a lice infestation. Yeah. But still, it's down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that
get like HPV and
yeah. So I think that if your kid is gonna start fucking the other kids, all the kids are gonna start fucking each other. It's just gonna happen. It's going to happen. You're not gonna stop it. Because if you could stop it, there would be no more people. Yep. So you got to teach them about those things. They need to know.
Yeah, you need to arm them with education.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know this was going to happen. Why didn't nobody tell me?
I would imagine the best way to do it is be like, I really wish that you would wait until you were married.
Yeah.
However,
just so you can be, in a place where you can deal with the ramifications.
Exactly.
If you were to get somebody pregnant, or if you were to catch, venereal disease.
If I was married and caught a venereal disease, I'd be very upset.
Oh yeah, yeah. But you need, ideally you'd want to be an adult so you can handle those things. I know that's very rarely ever the case. But
just send it like for especially for a kid that's coming up in the world, especially today, as a parent, I don't think that you have the option anymore of like trying to shield them from that. Mm-hmm. It's like
Not with the ease of access.
Not with the ease of access to some
pornography
and
stuff like that.
It's like you need to arm them with information because if you don't, they're going to go find information that might be incorrect information.
Yeah.
And if they do that, it's like, well, now you have a bigger problem on your hands. Now you're having to reteach.
And pornography is not a direct representation of what sex is. It's, especially if you're looking at porn, like produced porn, like with actors, porn actresses. There's like editing and filming and lighting and, it's a production.
Yeah.
It's not Nat Geo where you're watching two hippos fuck. That's reproduction is what that is. Pornography is basically just, film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's raunchy film, but it's not a direct representation of what life is or what sex is.
Well, it perverts the whole process.
It does. And I think that, it's every kid's got an iPhone. Within 2 minutes, if they know what they're doing, they can immediately pull up a video of some shit like that. So yeah, you probably now more than ever, you got to be up front and ahead of it.
Yeah. You certainly don't want, especially too with the society that we live in, there's a lot of shame attached to like sex or like sexual desires and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, so you shouldn't expect that your kid once they find that information, they're not going to come to you to ask you about it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, they're going to think that they found something that's like forbidden knowledge.
Yeah.
But then, you don't want to be like, well, I don't want to pervert my kid.
Yeah. Well, there's correct and incorrect ways of going about it.
Yeah.
It's like if you just tell them be like, it's a thing that two people do. It's like, and then you explain the anatomy of it.
Yeah.
And then you tell them, be like, I wish that you would wait.
Yeah.
But if you do not,
at
it's
least be safe about it.
Especially too, like once you start I can't be around you all the time.
Yeah.
It's like I can't.
You're going to be out on your own. You're going to be
out on your own sometimes. Like even as a teenager, it's like I can't be around you all the time. It's like especially once you get a car.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
It's like, so the best thing I can do is try to provide some type of like moral guidance or like try to set some type of framework for you to base
give you the tools to kind of safely navigate this thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And give you information.
Right.
That's the best you can do. That's about it.
Too, it's like if you shelter them from that knowledge, they're going to, like we said, they're going to find it one way or another, but they might act out and, overcorrect.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they can really find themselves in trouble.
Exactly.
In trouble then.
Well, it's like you see a lot of people that are like, I know people personally that I had went to school with that were very sheltered, like in that type of situation. And like once they left, it's like, and then it was just buck wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it caused an issue.
Yeah. That's what happens to the Amish when they go in Rumspringa. It's fucking spring. That's the spring break to end all spring breaks. Well, I think Wesley needs to go ahead and cut on out of here. We're running on a little tight schedule this morning.
Yeah, but we wanted to get an episode out that way we can try to keep pushing forward.
Keep our score streak going.
Yeah, there we go. We're 3 weeks in a row.
3 for 3.
3 for 3.
I think the most we ever did was 5 for 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll try to
beat that.
We'll try to get to 5 first, one step at a time. Yeah.
But thank you everybody for listening today. We really hope you appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed yourselves. Yeah. I hope you appreciate what we're doing for you people.
You ungrateful fucks.
You ungrateful shits. You have anything you'd like to close with?
Nope. Just, again, thank you for the continued support. Continue to tune in and listen to us. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right, everybody. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye, everyone.